And welcome inside the Backstage Pass on KKTC True Country 99.9 and via the LMNOC streaming app and out there too in our great market of Taos, New Mexico and Pueblo, Colorado. And of course, hightidecountry.net and our friends powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. Pleased to welcome in my guest of the day and always a great featured artist to have here on the show, presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and Honky Tonk Texas, Troy Cartwright to the show. Troy, how you doing?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
It's good, man. It's a kind of hump day and looking forward to the weekend coming up too. So we're
Yeah,
halfway through the week here too. Well, hey, let's dive right into it, man. You love songwriting, no doubt about it. I've gotten a
no
chance to listen
doubt,
to a
man.
lot of the catalog of songs that you've put out too. And let's get a little background on you because you know this Texas market down here where I'm from very well and kind of that Dallas, Arlington area too. So talk a little bit about yourself, growing up and kind of what drew you into this thing called country music.
Oh man, absolutely. Well, I was not a big country music fan actually growing up because
Okay.
that's what my sister listened to, and I was kind of, she was older, and I was like, man, I'm trying to do my own thing. But I actually went to college in Boston, and got really homesick, and stumbled onto via a recommendation from a friend. I kind of discovered this guy named Robert Earl Keen,
Oh yeah.
and that got me sucked into I guess you'd call it Texas country, but
Mm-hmm.
uh to me, man, it was like great songwriting. And I was going to college for music, and I just loved these stories that Robert O'Keen told, and that was sort of I call it my gateway drug into country music. I kind of snuck in the back door there, but started listening to him and Hayes Carl, and that's how I
Mm-hmm.
got into like Pat Green, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Texas. Once people listen to a few songs down here from a lot of the great people that we've had down here, you mentioned several right there. Aaron Watson, the name's going on. Kevin Fowler. I mean, this
Oh
thing
yeah,
it climbs the charts for
beer bait and
what these.
ammo, baby.
Yes, beer, beer ammo, no doubt. Listening to that. But as far as the other genre of music, you mentioned it wasn't country. What were you listening to? What are some of those artists that motivated you?
Oh, well, I did always love like singer-songwriter stuff, like, like Ryan Adams,
Hmm.
or what my dad always listened to, like the Eagles and the Beatles, and James Taylor, stuff like that.
Hmm.
But it's interesting because it's not well, it's kind of coming back now actually, but it was like a lot of, like, I guess you'd call it emo music,
Okay.
that was what was popular, when I was growing up. Is that was kind of like the kind of rock radio stuff. It was like Simple Plan and Newfound Glory and Alien Ant Farm and
Hmm.
all that stuff. That was what, I loved when I was, 12, 13 years old. Just kind of, I would say, coming into being aware of music.
Yeah, and we all know about country music being one of the best genres out there too. That we see a lot of artists being very versatile now in crossing over. You see people like a Hardy, who's a great songwriter. You see Jelly Roll and the impact he's making now in the industry. And boy, he does know the industry when it comes to the music business side of it too. But what's great about these songs, and you've done this with Married Now, and we'll get into that in a second. But the storytelling and the
Yeah,
songwriting and the
yeah,
songwriters in Nashville that I throw out huge kudos to, because without them there wouldn't be these great tunes we get to hear on the radio now too at the same time. Talk about
yep.
your style of songwriting, what motivates you a little bit, and to kind of put together a great song when it comes to a Troy Cartwright tune.
Yeah. Well, Married Now is a great example. I wrote that with one of my frequent collaborators, a guy named Billy Montana. You
Mm-hmm.
might have heard of some of the
Mm-hmm.
songs. He wrote like Suds in the Bucket and
Oh yeah. Yep.
stuff like that, and Night Train for John Party, and
Mm-hmm.
he's got just tons of hits. But I always come into the writer room on a good day
Mm-hmm.
with some kind of idea, and I for Married Now, I had this idea. I was sort of just chewing on this thought of, there are people in your life that you date, or that,
Mm-hmm.
and for whatever reason, uh you kind of grow apart from them and don't really talk to them anymore. And I was like, man, I kind of wanted to write about that feeling. And we were
Mhm.
able to wrap it up in this story about, wishing someone well, but knowing that it's probably not appropriate to call them up or whatever, just because they're married,
Mhm.
and that's
Mhm.
so it's sort of like a respectful heartbreak song, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah, and what's great about like the industry too, like you said, so many great songs, and I've never really felt before, maybe since the '90s country there too, maybe early 2000s, that it's healthy now with all these great singer songwriters kind of doing their thing, and then you look at these TV shows like The Voice and American Idol, still putting out talent and just finding talent and giving that talent a platform to stand on. Otherwise, they may not have to do a show like that. Give me some thoughts on, I guess, the health of the country music industry right now with so much talent in it, and then kind of
Yeah.
a two-parter. Those shows are definitely motivating factors for people now that want to get well known on a platform like that.
Yeah. I think the state of country music is really healthy right now. I mean, I think country music's like, I think it's the biggest format right now, or
Hmm.
one of, top two. There's a lot of opportunity to do not just, traditional country music, but guys like Morgan Wallen are obviously blurring the lines, kind of doing some of the more like poppier stuff. And I really am excited because as a songwriter, I love getting to paint on a lot of different canvases. And as an artist, I feel like, you know, I get to make music that I love, and I don't
Hmm.
have to worry too much about it fitting in, this box or that box, because there's just so much, you know, acceptance of different styles of country music, even within the mainstream country format,
Hmm.
which I think is really great, for country music.
Yeah, and you mentioned that storytelling is so authentic now too, and people can hear something like "I'm Married Now" and really feel something that they've felt
Yeah.
before, may not have felt, and just kind of put together something like that. Because I think you got yourself. I mean, to me, that's a top
Hmm.
10 hit at radio. If you guys have
Oh, thank you,
pushed
man.
that too, because that song is just really at the beginning, middle, end. You've got that crescendo thing going on. It's just beautiful instrumentation, like in the background. So when I listen to something like that, it really does tell a great story out there too.
Yeah.
We'll take a, quick timeout for our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. If you still hadn't logged on, what are you waiting for? Bangtail.com out there too for the holiday drinks. Get it sent to your door. Easy online shopping there too. Goes well with the great cocktails. It's in Nashville. It's in Live Oak. It's in Texas. It's in Florida. It's everywhere now. It's catching on a sweep of the nation by storm. The official whiskey of the Backstage Pass and our friends at honkytalktexas.us. Download the latest concert schedule there. We're on KKTC True Country 99.9. Our friends in Taos, New Mexico, and Pueblo, Colorado, out there via the LMNOC streaming app. More with Troy Cartwright here. It is the Backstage Pass coming back. We'll talk about Just Kids, an album we put out last year in 2022. Back with more. It is the Backstage Pass. Stay tuned. Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
And back here on the show, Troy Cartwright joining us here on the Backstage Pass, again powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com, presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and Honky Tonk Texas on KKTC True Country 99.9 in Taos, New Mexico, and up into Pueblo, Colorado via the LMNOC streaming app. You can catch us weeknights at 10 there too, and also our other streaming station, HighTideCountry.net. The latest single from Troy, Married Now, across all the digital platforms. And of course, the next couple of days, Dasha will join us Also, Jesse Wilson coming up this week as well, a great country artist. And of course, a name people might have heard of, James Otto, right here on the Backstage Pass too as well. Hey, let's talk about this, Troy. Last November, Just Kids comes out. Love the title track too. Got a chance to listen to some of that. Boys Like Trucks. Diving into a few songs. Let's dive into this album for me real quick.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it starts with Boys Like Trucks. I've always just loved that song. I think it's super fun, and it's short and sweet, but it's been really cool. I got a little 3-year.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Got you back. A little audio difficulty there too. So you just kind of bumped that microphone. We'll get him back. There you are. I got you.
Yeah. So I had it's been really cool because my nephew, he's 3. He loves Boys Like Trucks. It's always my sister's always sending me videos of him dancing. So that's been a lot of fun. That's been a live show favorite. And I had a song on there, That's Why, that was actually the first song we put out from that project. And that song has become one of the biggest songs of my career. It's become huge. And it's really been special because it's become a part of a lot of people's weddings and first dances and stuff. And it's a song I wrote about my wife. So it was already special to me, and to see it get to be special to other people is so rewarding.
Another one off there too was really good. I thought just listened to as well. Prettiest Girl I Don't Know. Let's dive into this one.
Man, I love that song. My buddies Brett Tyler and Steve Mokler, both great songwriters, and Steve's an artist in his own right. But it was just a fun little idea of trying to think of something. It was a story about trying to think of something clever to say to a girl, at the bar. And it's sweet and fun, and it's done really well for me. So I love that song.
Off that same album, That's the Way Country is Supposed to Be. Don't make it hard, make it sweet, make it fun, make it resonate with somebody. Must Be Lonely. Let's dive into this one a little bit, a little backstory.
Yeah, I wrote Must Be Lonely with my buddy Will Weatherly and Josh Mirinda, and man, I love the heartbreak songs. That one was like just this little title I had written down. Man, must be lonely, must be midnight. Just thinking about this guy that's going through a breakup and is dealing kind of with, the recognition that it really is over. And I think we hopefully covered that subject matter very well.
Well, those ballads sometimes too, they heartbreak songs, like you said, that's what every country artist has, some type of good drinking song and a ballad song, a tune right there too, is heartbreak song, because that's just part of it too. Again, these songs we're talking about, again, available across all the digital platforms. I love it so much. And then off that record too, you talked about That's Why. But another one that kind of comes to mind off of there that I got to check out was How We Say Goodbye. And that's another one of those heartbreak kind of songs that you go through different stages of telling somebody something on that kind of thing. Is that kind of the same resonation there too a little bit? Of course, it's a little different than Must Be Lonely, but still it's country music telling a story.
It is. And I love that one because it was sort of like what we felt was like a fresh take on a breakup song, which was like, these moments where you did break up, but you kind of keep coming back to each other somehow. And that song is really just about making making excuses for why it's okay. Saying actually, this is how we say goodbye. But you probably read between the lines as very, very unhealthy behavior. But
No doubt. Hey, give me some of those challenging parts. Everybody goes through this as an artist, and Nashville's a 10-year town, both for singers and, of course, songwriters too. Songwriters putting the artist on the map too with the great songs that they pen out there too. For you, what are some of the challenges as an artist in this business?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I think right now it's harder than ever to. There's more music being released. There's more, competition than ever because there's no gatekeepers. So for me,
Hmm.
just so much time spent outside of the writer room, outside of being on the road, where I'm having to make, I guess they call it content. Uh, so I I think it burns me out sometimes having to do that as much as I do, but it also is a tremendous opportunity for artists and has
Hmm.
life in a lot of ways. I've had some songs kind of, I guess you call it, go viral
Hmm.
on those platforms, and that's been very helpful to my career. So sort of a love hate relationship, but more generally, I think that um, with being an artist, it's really just about trying to stay sane.
Yeah.
Uh, that's the trick, is just taking a breath sometimes and going, you know what, it's all going to be okay. I've lived through a lot of ups and downs on my
Hmm.
point to. I try that perspective. I'm not always successful in convincing myself that it's all going to be all right, but
Well, and I think I have to remind myself on that too, because Rome wasn't built in a day. And at the same time as that too, you got to look at this as kind of that journey and not just kind of a one night success. And definitely, hey, I want to go back to your first album that I got to check out again. Again, people always say it, I'm not to brag, but we do our homework on this show. And we get to listen to a lot of music too. So, February of 2015, that's how you know I did the homework when I know the album came out. And I got to check out My Girl, which led off the record there. You got to pin that. And of course, lead off the record with a great song, the Troy Cartwright record, which was 2015. So we'll start with that and kind of work our way down with a couple more. But My Girl has a great ring to it.
oh, thank you. Yeah, that was that song was really cool because I wrote that. It was one of my first singles, kind of in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and a great radio promoter named Angela Lampton. She's not doing radio promotion anymore, but she, through that song, is actually kind of how I ended up getting to Nashville, because she introduced me to some folks uh, in Nashville,
Mm-hmm.
that song. So I always I love that song. I think it's super fun and light, and yeah, it's been a while since I thought about it. So that.
Hey, good to jog that memory, no doubt about it too. Here's one you may have thought about, you may not have. I get the chance to really check out, and that we've all been at least a part of this in our lifetime too, with the song title "Next Flight Home." Let's dive into that one a little bit.
Man, that was the first song that ever. I think that was the first song I ever had that actually got played on a radio station. It got
Okay.
on a radio station in Fort Worth. And it was kind of the first time that I was able to put out a song, and it sort of started to be heard by people that weren't just my mom and my friends.
Hmm. Yeah.
Feeling. So I love that song. I think it's a pretty universal feeling, just trying to get home to somebody that you love.
Hmm.
I think a lot of us are having to travel here soon for the holidays. So
There's a put that on your playlist there for you guys out there in Radio Land too. And then the last one we'll talk about. I'll take a break here. This was just really one of those tunes that every tune can be about as basic as it gets, but the title of it too really kind of brings out a lot of your vocals and a great instrumentation. But it's a song called "A Simple Song," and it's on that very record too, right?
yeah, simple song, that one. So I recorded that record up in Norman, Oklahoma. The guy named Wes Sharon, and that song was a song I just wrote. I didn't think much of it, and we were pretty much done with the record, and I was just noodling in the room.
Hmm.
I remember he was doing something else, cleaning something up, and uh, I was playing it, and he comes over the talk back and goes, "Man, what's that?" And I was like, it's just a song I wrote. No,
Hmm.
they're already set up. So I love that song. So I know it's in the title, but it's just a simple.
Hmm.
It's really simple instrumentation, just a guitar, and and my vocal, and that was a different time in my songwriting career where I was not collaborating as much. So
Mm-hmm.
really just all from the heart and kind of off the top of my head. It's cool, man.
It is, man, no doubt too. We're going to come back, talk about one called Heartfelt with Troy here on the show, and of course talk about how important collaboration is in the music industry. More with Troy Cartwright. It is the Backstage Pass. Again, all music available for download out there too across all the digital platforms. Every song we're talking about today, including the albums, the singles, and a few EPs. We'll come back, talk about that here on the Backstage Pass, the song Heartfelt, and a few more tunes here on the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys, podcast.com. Rapid fire coming up here in just a little bit too. We'll dive into some Texas sports teams with Troy here. And you can also check out troycartwright.com for more information out there, list of shows, and get some merchandise out there too. While you're at it, a word from our friends at Bangtail Whiskey. We're on KKTC, True Country 99.9, and via the LMNOC streaming app. And, of course, out there, hightidecountry.net, and presented by Bangtail Whiskey and our friends at Honky Tonk, Texas. Coming back, more with Troy Cartwright. Stay tuned. Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
And back here with Troy Cartwright on the show, the latest single, Married Now, across all the digital platforms. Check out troycartwright.com. I wanted to ask you about this one here. We're on True Country 99.9, KKTC, New Mexico and Colorado up there too. And again, hightidecountry.net. Heartfelt. When this one came out, I believe it was this year too, the single you guys have put out, I went, yes, I can resonate with that too, because we've been through relationships and things like that too. And there's another one of those great ballad type of songs.
Yeah, that one, man, I wrote that with Jake Mitchell and Seth Ennis, two amazing songwriters here in Nashville. And yeah, we were just sitting in the room that day. It was like, man, let's write try and write like a rock song about heartbreak, you know? And Seth had that real clever heartfelt. He was like, I got the song called Heartfelt, like your heart felt nothing when it broke. And I was like, yes, that is for me. Let's write it. So, yeah, that one seems to be one that, again, on the live show, we just been on tour. People love screaming that one. So it's been fun.
Speaking of that tour, just build on that a little bit. I mean, going out on the road with some of these acts and doing what you're doing, how much fun is that? I mean, no doubt, somebody I've been on the road and attended concerts and done radio from it in my career, but I've never been like the performer on stage and like the energy rush and the adrenaline as you guys get to do these shows. And now, I mean, the floodgates are open for entertainers taking the stage again. That has to be one of the best parts for you, is performing live.
Oh, it's been so much fun. I love getting to tour, and it's a lot of hard work. A lot of time spent in the van, just driving the highways and doing all that stuff. But I love playing for people, and out of all the stuff that I do, that's like the most pure to me. Just getting to connect directly with the audience and see, this song that I wrote in my house or in a writer room with my buddies, like getting to see it being sung back by people that you've never met, is just like, doesn't feel real. It's pretty cool.
I love it too. There's another one that I saw you guys have put out, I believe it was March of this year, and it was one called, love the titles of these songs, Wild One. And this was one of those walk on the wild side kind of things where you get to hear country in a different way, but also too, another great message sent from the vocal side of it and recording side, and a lot of fun in the studio with this one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I did this. This one was produced by a guy named Jason Massey, who made a bunch of great records, some Kelsey Ballerini stuff, and yeah, I love this song, man. I thought it was cool just talking about a girl that, was wild. You probably shouldn't have messed with, but you did it anyway. And, you got hurt by it, but you get what you get when you mess with a wild one. That's how the hook goes. So I've lived that, unfortunately, a
Yeah.
few too many times.
That's just about one that I got to
Yeah.
as well. I've all been through those type of experiences in life too at the same time. Hey, let's dive into a little rapid fire because I can sit here and talk music all day and I love it. We're definitely gonna
Yeah,
have you back as the new projects come out in 2024. Start
absolutely.
right there. When you look at 2024 goals, aspirations, you mentioned the touring and of course new music coming out. Married Now is doing very well for you, and then some goals for 2024 as we're just a few weeks out from the new year. Kind of build on that. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry, what's the first question?
No,
Just
just
what are,
goals and aspirations for 2024, building on this music. I
yeah.
know there's more probably ready to go in the can, and you're
Yeah,
saying, you know
there's
what, a lot of good plans coming up for next year, right?
Yeah, I've got kind of a few more songs on this kind of current batch of music to put out that I'm really excited about, and then I've got a completely new record that I've been working on for over a year that will probably start rolling out in the fall of 2024. But I'm really just trying to enjoy getting to make music,
Mhm.
and got some tour dates in the beginning of the year, and then we'll probably wait until the fall to get back out there. But I'm just really excited about getting to take some time and really hone in on exactly what I want the new record to sound like.
Mhm.
And on top of that, I got a lot of songs I've written that are recorded by other artists, and I probably can't say yet, but a lot of really
Okay.
some bucket list artists for me that have recorded some of my songs are coming out next year, so I'm really excited about that. And
Yeah.
hopefully by the next time we talk,
Yeah.
they'll all be out, so we can talk about it more.
You struck a chord with me, brother. Like I said, I got the ear going. Yep, he's coming back on to talk about this because I can't wait to
Yep.
hear the releases on that too as well. You mentioned some bucket list artists too. Speaking of that too, when it comes to going on the road with these great people and kind of watching them do their thing, is there a stage that you have not stepped on yet? You're like, man, this is my dream stage. This is my bucket
Oh,
list stages, or more than one stage.
I've been fortunate to play a lot of stages that I always wanted to. I've gotten to play Green Hall.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big one for me. And there's I got earlier this year I got to play at a little place in Dallas called the Kessler Theater,
Mm-hmm.
which is a place I've always wanted to play. But I have never played uh, at the Grand Ole Opry, so that
Mm-hmm.
one's on my bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
And I have never. I have not yet played like Stagecoach Festival, which is another one for me that I hope I get to do sometime in the future. Yeah.
That's a good one, no doubt about it too.
Yep.
Actually, one of my good buddies had played out there too. Texas artist you're going to know a lot about, Flatland Cavalry
Oh
and Cleto
yeah.
too. As Cleto's a good friend of mine too. We've done some
Love
shows
Cleto.
in the past from a great band. And boy, they took off. I knew as of what 6-7 years ago, maybe longer than that
Yep.
now too. But they are a fantastic band. If somebody's not checked out Flatland Cavalry, they need to check them out too as well. All right, I tell you what. Hey, being from the Texas area, you know very well Dallas, and of course the heartbreak of sports teams. But there was this
Hmm.
team called the Texas Rangers. People have probably heard of, or at least I have now.
Yeah.
Taking the World Series and beating the upstart Diamondbacks. When you got the news, I'm sure you were probably religiously watching a
Oh
team
yeah.
go through that had been through it for what, close to 50 something years and hadn't won a title. But how did that make you feel as a fan?
Well, I have been going to Rangers games since I was 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember 96, 97, seeing Juan Gonzalez and Pudge Rodriguez, and I've loved the Rangers for so long, and then I had to live through the heartbreak of 2010, 2011, where they got so close, and so this time around, the Rangers, they had a good year,
Mm-hmm.
but they kind of slowed down and then kind of got hot at the right time. And I remember watching, we had this very intense Astros series
Yeah.
where basically every game went the opposite of how you thought it was going to go.
True,
And
true, yes.
yeah, and then the World Series on some level, when the game that they won, it was like I was just in disbelief, like
Mm-hmm.
because it was they got up and then it was like, oh my gosh, this is happening. and there wasn't anything too dramatic, in that particular game. It was just like they won and then they
Mhm.
were World Series champs. And yeah, I mean, I didn't cry, but I was pretty close. It was emotional, man. And it was just great
Mhm.
I wasn't sure. It was cool, because I was my dad lives in Utah, but it was just cool to get. He was texting me. He's like, I didn't think I'd ever get to see it. So that was special too.
It's pretty cool. You don't, because being the opposite, the Astros fan down here, growing up with that too, and then 50-something years of the franchise, you get one
Yeah,
in 17, despite what they say. I'm not crazy about the whole, you say what you want to say, sign steal. They're all
yeah,
doing
yeah,
it out there
yeah.
too. Whatever. Anyway, but then you
Yep.
get another one in 22. You're like, all right, 7 straight appearances. We can get used to this, and now this has become
Hmm.
kind of the custom for this ball club. So now expect the rivalry to be heated up over the next
Oh yeah,
3, 4, 10
and
years. This is fun.
that was a contentious series, for
Yeah.
sure.
No doubt. That was one of those series that anytime you go, I actually went to game one,
Oh,
and to
you
get
did.
shut out in Houston, the 2 to
Yep.
nothing. I was like, hey man, that's Jordan Montgomery. And I know you want him back, because that guy did some really great things for you guys down the stretch over the past few months, but he's one of those hot free agents right now who's going to get paid. Hey, could you believe, speaking of getting paid, Shohei Ohtani? Holy
Crazy,
crap. What was your
crazy.
reaction to that?
Well, I'm curious about this deferred payment
Hmm.
thing. I don't know how they're gonna. It sounds like that's something to do with the luxury tax. So
Yeah.
I'm curious about that. But I mean, he's an electric player to watch, and obviously really exciting for the game of baseball. So it's like, hey man, get your money. I
That's it.
love it.
You get it, and you'll be almost retirement by the time it's
I
up with
think
your
I think
deferred.
he doesn't even have to. Yeah, his grandkids can retire, I think.
Yeah, safely to say that 68 per year is going to be deferred to the back end of that deal. But hey, couple of mil, live in Los Angeles. I've been there. I'd take that lifestyle in a heartbeat
That's
too.
right.
All right, Christmas traditions, the Cartwright household. Do we have any?
Yeah. Man, nothing too crazy. We got the Christmas trees up. I feel like I'm recently married, so I'm
Hmm.
living through that. Every year we're just slowly accumulating more and more Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
So I think just pretty basic holiday stuff. We usually go back to Texas for the holidays and
Hmm.
just spend time with family, and I always enjoy it, man. And my personal Christmas tradition is watching Home Alone. I was in the process of throwing it on before we started, and forgot that I don't have Disney Plus. So
That's yeah,
they're probably going to get my 14.99
yeah.
here after this interview, but that's all
It's all good.
right.
Hey, it's one of my favorites. Christmas classic. Grew up on that. Both the first two are my favorites out there. Home Alone 2. Gotta love it
Yep.
with Macaulay Culkin, and of course, just always fun to. Great acting in that too. And if you can't laugh at that, then hey, I got no hope for you then too, because those were two of the best Christmas movies made of all time.
That's
And
right.
it's cool to see Elf and National Lampoons and all the other great Christmas movies out
Yeah.
there too at this time of year too. All right, favorite food for Christmas? Is there a dish that you're like, my mom does this, my dad does this, or I do this, or a family member cooks something that I enjoy?
You know, I have this debate. Uh, do you think that this is sort of an answer to your question?
All right.
Do you feel like bread is like a dinner roll? Is that an appetizer or a side?
To me, I've always got to have bread as a side.
Okay.
But that's just me. But if I get it as an appetizer, it's just more of a luxury. But
Yeah.
no matter, because I eat meat a lot, I'm not afraid of it. It's just, as a hunter down here in Texas, we love our deer, we love our game, and it's just, I mean, I would like this week I want to do like a deer chili, so I've got to have some type of
Oh, there you
cornbread
go.
or bread
Yeah.
with it to dunk into it. So it's just one of those Texas things. So I guess you could say
Yeah.
a side or
Hmm.
maybe an appetizer if it's going to be offered, if that helps out.
Yeah, yeah. I just that's a fun game I like to play with
That's a good
people
one.
is asking them.
Like
But yeah,
that.
I mean, I love to eat, man. I love
Mhm.
what like there's nothing specific that comes to mind, but I do love, for some reason it all tastes better a few hours after for second Christmas dinner, you know, the leftovers. They just, I don't know, something about it.
Yeah, it's it's good food no matter what time of the night it is out there too, man. Hey, I tell
Yeah.
you, I love this song. It is fantastic. You're the future of country music is bright with you in it. Married Now
Oh, thank
across
you.
all the digital platforms. Make sure you download and stream that if you've not already. All the other songs and albums we've talked about today are out there too as well. Troy, appreciate you being part of the program. Looking forward to connecting in 2024. Hope you had a great time.
Hey, thank you, brother.
You got it. TroyCartwright.com, another great place to check out for shows coming up and all the music and merchandise and things out there too. We'll be talking to you guys tomorrow. Jesse Wilson on the show. And then this Thursday, great doubleheader. You might remember a guy named James Otto. He's been big in Nashville too. Great songwriter, two-time
Awesome.
Grammy nominated. And of course, an artist named Dasha we're going to check out too as well. She's got some great stuff out there across all the digital platforms. Thanks to our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and of course out there at hightidecountry.net. HonkyTonkTexas.us, one of our sponsors, and KKTC True Country 99.9 in Taos, New Mexico, and Pueblo, Colorado. We'll see you in the morning on the morning show with Shelly at KKTC True Country 99.9. Thanks to Troy. And, of course, more great shows coming up here on the Backstage Pass presented by Bangtail Whiskey and Honky Tonk Texas. See you soon, my country fans. Take care.